It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
This next one is from JR, or maybe it's JR. It's Podoraki.
Maybe it's Jur.
It's Jur. Okay, this is what he or she said. My workplace offers a 403B and a 401A. 401A is only funded by the company, not the employee. This is where the question is. Is it wise to make the 401A more aggressive, because that comes from the company, than the 403B? Are there any tax implications? P.S. also have a Roth. I think this is the question they're getting at. Should I think about how aggressive or conservative different accounts in my portfolio are? I don't know that I would delineate between 401A and 403B, but
there is a clue there, and I know where you're going with this. Is that first thing, when I hear that it's all employer funded, here's a little secret, guys. No matter what you elect with your employer plan, whether it's a Roth or whether it's traditional, your contributions, if it's Roth, are growing tax-free. You don't get a current year deduction, but you get all that growth without paying taxes on it. If you go pre-tax, you get a current year deduction. It's great in that aspect, but you are going to pay taxes when you start pulling it out at some point in the future. But there's a constant going on behind the scenes. Your employer's contribution, no matter what your election is, will always be pre-tax.
Yep.
And the big reason, your employer, they not only want to see you be financially successful, but they want that tax deduction.
Absolutely.
They definitely want to get a reduction of the income taxes they pay by giving you this benefit. And the way the deal from the government is we'll let you take that deduction, but it's going to go in pre-tax. Mm-hmm. So when I hear somebody say that their employer, in this case it's a 401A, is funded solely by the employer, we know that should go into, if we talk about tax location. And remember, tax location, we're talking about the 3-bucket strategy.
Yep.
We're talking about tax-free, which is your Roth. That's top of the food chain. We're talking about tax-deferred, which means, once again, traditionally, you're taking a tax deduction now, but you will, when you pull the money out later, have to pay ordinary income taxes on it. That's another bucket. And then bucket 3 is your after-tax or your bridge account. It's a brokerage account that, once again, you're investing, but it's going to be very liquid and very easy to get a hold of. We've discussed this in a lot of different ways, but when we're talking about tax location, we know employer contributions are going to be tax deferred. When you get big enough that this should matter, you're probably going to want to put fixed income and other things that pay ordinary income taxes in that bucket. So that might be somewhat more conservative. Yep. You want to put growth assets in the Roth. You want to put dividend paying and capital gains, as well as things that maybe you will be taking a loss on in the after-tax account. All this stuff's important. And I always feel guilty, though, when I give this, because this is where it gets complex to the point that you might need a financial advisor or graduate through the abundance cycle and work with somebody, because this is exactly what we help clients work with. I would tell you, though, if your accounts are less than a few $100,000, though, I don't know that you should be focusing on that. I think you should be focusing on doing an index target retirement fund and just get the behavior, get the assets in there, and because that's what's more important, is building your army of dollars versus getting into the minutia of tax location.
Yeah, and I think about, like, we talk about the financial order of operations. I even think, in terms of this order of operations, asset allocation matters first. Asset location matters second. So I'd make sure the portfolio is right for, I wouldn't just put, if I just have really crummy fixed income investments or ordinary income investments inside my 403B, I might not take advantage of them simply for the taxes. I care more about the allocation, make it make sense, and then I care about the location. I thought that was great.
And I think savings rate sits on top of that.
Absolutely.
And size of your assets. Before we even get into the details of asset allocation and asset location, you gotta be building the army of dollars.